Okay, so you've been hustling, you've raised money on safes, and then bam, the acquisition offer you've been dreaming of lands on your desk. But what do those simple agreements for future equity you signed actually mean for your payout? Let's get into it.
I mean, we all love safes, right? They're supposed to be a founder's best friend. No messy valuation debates, no giving up board seats. It's the fast lane to getting that funding so you can get back to what you do best, building your company. But is it really that simple? Well, that beautiful simplicity, it's about to get, well, pretty complicated. The truth is, your dream acquisition could turn into a real financial headache if you're not prepared for what's lurking in the fine print of those agreements. And look, this isn't some tiny detail we're talking about. This is a potential make or break moment. Understanding how your safes work in an acquisition is absolutely critical to having a successful exit and not getting a nasty surprise right at the finish line. All right, so how do we diffuse this potential time bomb? To avoid getting burned, we've got to go back to the beginning and understand the promise you actually made to your investors. What did you really sign? Think of a safe like an IOU for stock. It's not equity now. It's a promise for equity later. You're telling your investors, hey, down the road, usually when we raise a big price round like a Series A, you'll get your shares then. But here's the million-dollar question. What happens if you get acquired before you ever raise that Series A? That later never arrives. Your investors don't have their equity yet, so what do they get? The answer is buried in that contract, and trust me, it's a game changer. So the offer lands. The champagne is on ice. This is it, right? The moment you've been grinding for. But hold on, that celebration might be a little premature. And then, right in the middle of all the excitement, your lawyer asks to see all the safe agreements. And just like that, the mood in the room changes. The focus suddenly shifts from that big, exciting number to the nitty-gritty of who actually gets paid what. This is where we meet the star of our show, the liquidity event clause. This is the part of the safe that gets triggered when you're acquired, and it is a huge deal. It gives your investors a critical choice. And here's the absolute kicker. They get to make the call, not you. So, what's the choice? This is where the road forks. Your investors get to choose one of two paths, and you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to pick the one that puts the most money in their pocket. Okay, so option one, they can convert their safe into stock, usually based on the valuation cap, and take a slice of the acquisition price. This is their best move in a big exit. Option two is way simpler. They can just ask for their original investment back as cash, a straight refund. This is usually their go-to in a smaller deal. Let's be crystal clear about this. The investor gets to choose whichever option makes them more money. It's their call, and it's written right into the agreement you signed. They're going to run the numbers on both scenarios and pick the winner. Let's run a real-world example. Say you get a fantastic $20 million acquisition offer. You've got an early investor who put in $250,000 on a safe with a $5 million valuation cap. They are absolutely going to convert. That cap lets them buy shares at a huge discount to the exit price. Their $250,000 investment, it just turned into a cool $1 million payout. That's a 4x return. Not bad for them. But what if it's a smaller deal? Let's say a $2 million exit. Now, if investors with a total of $500,000 in safes were to convert, the math might mean their stock is only worth, say, $300,000. So what do? It's a no-brainer. They're just going to ask for their original $500,000 back in cash. And now for the part that really, truly blindsides so many founders. Who gets paid first? This is so important to understand. The money for your safe investors doesn't come after the deal closes. It comes from the deal. It gets taken right off the top of the total acquisition price. So you see that $2 million offer on paper, and you're already planning the celebration, right? But that's just the headline number. The real number, well, that's what's left over after your investors get their cut. Yeah, not so fast. If you have, say, $750,000 in safes, and those investors all choose to cash out, your $2 million pie instantly shrinks to $1.25 million. And that's before you even think about lawyers' fees or taxes. Ouch, right? I really want this to sink in. Your safe holders are first in line. They get their money before you, before your hardworking employees, before anyone else holding common stock. It's just how the contract works. Okay, that might sound pretty scary, but don't panic. The good news is you can absolutely get ahead of this. You can take control. So let's talk about your playbook for a smooth exit instead of a rude awakening. All right, here's your 3-step plan. Super simple. First, model every single exit scenario. I mean it. Run the numbers right now for a small, medium, and huge exit. You need to know exactly what's left for you and the team in each case. Second, get your house in order. Go find all those safe documents, create a master spreadsheet, and then sit down with your lawyer to review everything. And third, talk to your investors early and often. Once a deal even seems possible, be transparent. Give them a heads up. It's all about managing expectations.
Look, at the end of the day, knowledge gives you choices. It puts you in the driver's seat during a negotiation. Being surprised by the math in the 11th hour, that doesn't give you any choices at all.
Remember, the best exits don't just magically happen. They are built, brick by brick, from the very beginning. And that starts with understanding the real-world implications of every single dollar you raise. So I'll leave you with this question. Your safes are this quiet promise you made to your investors. Do you really know what that promise is going to cost when it's finally time to pay up?